Next on NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
We'll discuss the current state of the beef industry with the CEO of NCBA. Plus, a wrap-up of the 2017 cattle markets with the experts at CattleFax.
And now, NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen with host Kevin Oxner.
Hello and welcome to NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. I'm Kevin Oxner. 2017 is quickly coming to an end, so we thought it was a good time to take a look at where we stand with some of the key issues the cattle industry has faced throughout the year. Joining me now is Kendall Fraser, CEO of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. Kendall, thanks for stopping in and giving us some insight today.
You're welcome, Kevin.
You know, tax reform is a top issue for NCBA. Tell us where we stand on this issue.
Well, we have both houses of Congress, both the Senate and House, who are working on legislation and trying to advance legislation and get something passed by the end of the year. Our priorities in working with Senate and House committees is to get the state tax eliminated. That's a huge priority for us. And also to maintain some cash accounting and accounting rules that are very important to agriculture. So we're engaged with the committees and the appropriate legislative bodies, and we're protecting the interest of cattlemen.
Outstanding. You and I have talked a lot about waters of the United States over the last couple of years. Give us your update there.
EPA has withdrawn the proposed waters of the United States rule. So they withdrew that, basically killed it. So we're working with the EPA to make sure that if we advance something different to define waters and waterways and things like that, that it does not hurt agriculture and does not restrict private property rights.
Some good wins there, but still work to do, right?
That's correct.
So tell us about some of the other critical policy issues the Washington, D.C. office is working on now.
Kevin, we have our staff in Washington, D.C. focused every day on protecting the interest of cattlemen. We're working on tax issues, we're working on trade issues, working on environmental related issues and private property rights, and issues that would impact public lands ranchers.
Now, you recently had a little meeting at the White House. Tell our viewers about that.
I did. The president invited the CEOs of trade associations and corporations to the White House to talk about cutting regulation. That's been a high priority of this administration. That's something we very much support. So I had a chance to go to the White House, and it was a very interesting event, and we were able to give some input in it.
That's outstanding. And I also wanted to ask about international markets. What is NCBA doing to ensure access and, in fact, broaden access to these important global markets?
Well, we're playing defense and offense both. By offense, we were able a few months ago to get the China market opened, and we're working on access in countries around the world. From a defensive standpoint, we continue to work with the administration to stress to them the importance of the free trade agreements that we have. The North American Free Trade Agreement, which is worth about $2 billion in sales for the U.S. beef industry every year to Canada and Mexico, and the Korean Free Trade Agreement. The administration has said they want to negotiate both agreements, and they're in the process of doing that with NAFTA right now. And we want to make sure that in any of those negotiations that there is no harm done to the U.S. beef industry.
Yeah, certainly a critically important issue. And I do have a few more questions for you when we come back. Raising cattle is your priority. Keeping you in business is ours. So if you'd like to support the beef industry, why not become an NCBA member? By doing so, you'll be sustaining the work of NCBA in defending cattle-producing families just like yours. To join, just call toll-free 1-866-USA-BEEF, or you can visit the website ncba.org. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll hear more from NCBA CEO Kendall Fraser. And later, the experts from CattleFax offer their advice on how to set yourself up for success in 2018. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Hello everybody, Stormy Warren here from SiriusXM's The Highway. Congratulations on your record-breaking 2017 Cattle Industry Convention right here in my backyard in Nashville, Tennessee. Now, let's see if we can smash more records in 2018. blaze a trail to Phoenix, Arizona, and the 2018 Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show. Meet up with thousands of your fellow cattlemen and women and have a whole lot of fun. You can laugh along with the always funny Bill Engvall at the Cowboy Comedy Club and get valuable information at the general sessions where you just might see this guy. Plus, explore 6 acres of displays at the NCBA Trade Show. Join me and blaze a trail to Phoenix for the 2018 Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show, January 31st through February 2nd. You can find out more at beefusa.org.
No matter what job I've got to do, my John Deere 5E tractor will do it all. Whether I'm cutting, moving feed, or building a fence. Using my 5E means my work gets done faster at a price I can afford, and that works for me.
Welcome back. We're talking with Kendall Fraser, the CEO of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. And Kendall, why don't you tell us more about how NCBA works with its state partners to achieve results both on a policy side as well as a federation side?
We work very closely with our state cattlemen's associations in a partnership to implement our policy priorities in Washington, D.C. We work very closely with the state beef councils, through the Federation of State Beef Councils, to implement demand building programs, and that includes everything from advertising to dietitian seminar to food service and retail programs.
You've recently launched the new Beef It's What's for Dinner website. My wife's already taken advantage of a couple of the recipes on there. Why is this website so important for producers?
Well, this is the 25th anniversary of Beef It's What's for Dinner, so we relaunched the website. We've consolidated several websites into one, so it's really one-stop shopping now. And you can go on there and you can get recipes, you can watch videos on food preparation and beef preparation, and something new on the website now, we have some farm to fork videos about how beef is produced today. So a great place for information about beef and beef production.
It really is a well-done website. I'm excited about that. And you know, you get an opportunity to get out and talk to a lot of members at the state and local level. What would you tell us is the general mood right now this fall?
I think it's pretty good, Kevin. Cattle prices are much higher this fall than anyone anticipated. We've got a strong market. Domestic demand is very strong, and international demand is very strong. So we anticipated that a lot of production this fall, we would have more competing supplies of protein, and we've been able to move that through the production system at still pretty good price levels.
Absolutely. I think everybody's encouraged by that, and congratulations for everything you and your team does to try to encourage that demand. You know, as we talk about the beef industry and the future itself, what would you say to producers about why it's so important to be a member of NCBA?
Because we do things collectively that an individual producer can't do alone. What do I mean by that? We're the voice of cattlemen in Washington, D.C. on these really important issues to cattlemen: private property rights, public lands issues, taxes, trade. An individual cattleman can't go to Washington, D.C. and work on those issues. We have a full-time staff back there that's all they do every day to implement the policy of the organization. So it's really important to be a member of a larger association to be effective.
And we're gearing up for the Cattle Industry Annual Convention and NCBA Trade Show in Phoenix. What's your best plug for why our viewers should attend this?
Well, it's one of the highlights of the year in our industry, and we'll have 7,000 to 8,000 cattlemen in Phoenix. We're going to have a huge trade show. It's basically sold out. That's worth the price of registration alone to go into that trade show. In addition to that, our opening general session speaker is Ree Drummond, the pioneer woman, and I think a lot of people are going to enjoy her message. I'm sure our viewers have seen her on television, read some of her books, some of her magazines, so that'll be a lot of fun.
Should be a little warmer there than it is in much of the country at that point in time, right?
Well, we would hope so, and a good chance for those cattlemen from across the country to go to Phoenix, enjoy that great weather, and enjoy a great convention.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming to the show, Kendall.
Thank you, Kevin.
As Kendall mentioned, if you're part of the beef industry, then you should absolutely be in Phoenix for the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show. And the 25th Annual Cattlemen's College alone probably makes it worth your time to head to Phoenix. The information and education available there is second to none. And you'll go home with a new idea or some new insights that just might change your cattle business in 2018. Reserve your space for Cattlemen's College and register now for the Cattle Industry Convention itself at the website ncba.org. Still to come on Cattleman to Cattleman, we'll take a look at the cattle markets as we near the end of 2017. And later, we'll see how one Nebraska family is carrying on their family's legacy with the help of Purina products. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Say goodbye to your toughest pasture and rangeland weeds for good. Because one product offers season-long control, handles the widest spectrum of broadleaf weeds, and clears the way for increased forage with greater grazing flexibility. So you get more beef per acre at a cost that can't be beat. It's Grazon Next HL herbicide, and if it's in your pastures, plain and simple, weeds won't be.
This isn't a 9-to-5 job. So when you check the pens one last time, put away the tools, and make sure everything's ready to hand off to the night crew. It's not the clock that tells you the day is over. It's the confidence of knowing you got it right. It's having one less thing to worry about when the sun goes down. So when you see the signs of BRD, choose confidence. Choose Zuprevo from Merck Animal Health. Talk to your veterinarian about Zuprevo for BRD treatment.
Blaze a trail to Phoenix, Arizona and the 2018 Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show. It's the cattle industry's biggest convention with education, networking, and fun. Plus, you can check out the huge NCBA Trade Show, outstanding entertainment, and more. Don't miss the 2018 Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show in Phoenix, January 31st through February 2nd. Visit beefusa.org for more. Market Watch.
Welcome back. There's just over a month to go until the end of 2017, and we all hope the cattle markets will end the year on a high note. And joining us now to talk about this is Troy Appelhans. He's with CattleFax. Troy, we're about a month away from the end of the year. We've had some good news this fall. What's your read on these markets?
You know, this market this year isn't significantly different than it was in 2016 when you look at it on an annual average. You know, fed prices are likely going to end the year in the low 120s for an average. Feeder cattle prices kind of in the mid 140s, and calf prices in the mid 160s area. Seen a lot of calves that have sold in that 160s to 180s area kind of since summertime, really, and the calf market really just hasn't declined significantly into the fall time period like it normally does. So ended it on a pretty high note, particularly when considering that U.S. average 550-pound calf prices in 2016 during the month of October averaged 127.
Wow, yeah, a vast improvement. So what are the fundamentals that are driving this in the cow-calf sector?
Well, the first thing, Kevin, is that all segments of production are profitable today. You know, you start at the top and you go from the retailer who's been profitable. Obviously, the packer's been highly profitable this year, but feed yards have made money, stocker operators have made money, and consequently, cow-calf producers have made a pretty significant stride from where they were a year ago.
You bet. So let's talk demand for a minute. What are you guys seeing from a consumer perspective, both here and abroad?
Demand's been unbelievable. You know, when we've produced over 1 billion pounds more beef this year in 2017, we've harvested over 1 million more fed cattle this year. Demand's been unbelievable, and you know, all fresh retail beef prices are only a penny lower basically on average, yet we're selling 4% more volume here domestically. So that's a good indicator that demand's doing pretty well.
That's outstanding news. And the other relatively good news, I presume, are these feed prices. Tell us about harvest and your overall look at the feed side of the equation.
You know, there was a lot of concern with regards to how the corn market or how corn crop was going to perform this year. You know, all the way from last spring during planting season all the way to the end of the year through harvest. Looks like we're going to have over a 14.5 billion bushel corn crop, a record yield of 175 plus for the year. It's kept feed prices in check. Really, it's, you know, there's certain areas of the country, obviously, Kevin, you know, in the Montana and the Dakotas areas where it was so dry, where you'll have some elevated feed prices. But overall, look for feed prices to be, you know, pretty much in check until spring.
I know you'll give us a full rundown during convention at the Outlook Seminar, but what's 2018 looking like from your perspective right now?
You know, we still feel like that we're in a cattle cycle, you know, where we have those 10 to 12 year periods between a high price to a low price, or a high to a high and a low to a low. We're fully expecting, you know, prices to be lower next year in 2018. We're going to produce 1 billion more pounds of beef in 2018 and another 1 billion pounds roughly in 2019. So the cattle cycle, went from a historical perspective, is kind of on track. We are expecting lower lows and lower high prices, Kevin, but you know, these markets have been volatile. You know, they go higher than we expect them to sometimes, and consequently they move lower than they should at sometimes too.
So take us to the practical side of this thing. What should producers be doing or thinking about right now to set them up for a successful 2018?
Well, as a cow-calf producer particularly, you've got to look for spots to manage risk in here because the markets are too volatile to just be a market taker. We, you know, members of CattleFax, we try to encourage them to be a market maker. In other words, we want to see them manage risk in some form. Obviously, you've got to do the basic things better and more efficiently as well. You know, wean more calves per cows exposed. Optimize your resources in terms of having weaning weights that are increasing and adding value, because cattle that have added value sell for more money.
Sure.
And so when we look at it from, do what you can identify to get paid for. If you can wean calves and get paid for it with a certified vaccination program, obviously that's something to do. Cattle that have some performance history, obviously they're going to garner more dollars as well.
Yeah, good advice. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Appreciate you having me.
And if you're interested in where the cattle markets will go in 2018, then you should plan to attend the CattleFax Outlook Seminar at the Phoenix Convention. It'll take place on Thursday, February 1st. Get all the details and register for the convention at the website ncba.org. Still to come on Cattlemen to Cattleman, we'll show you how one Nebraska operation is managing lice in its feed yard. And later, we'll take you to Virginia cattle country to meet a man who's found harmony in two very different careers. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
There is a new world out there, revealing itself in unpredictable ways. A world that demands more from the land and those who grow, farm, and build on it. This new world calls for the ingenuity to get more out of it, while preserving as much as we can. After all, to stay ahead of tomorrow, we need to be equipped for it today.
There are many great reasons to join NCBA, and that includes exclusive NCBA member discounts and benefits from some outstanding companies.
Hi, this is Kerry Bastine, President of Roper Apparel and Footwear, Stetson Apparel Boots, and Tin Hall. We are very proud sponsors of the NCBA, and for all new members signing up with the NCBA, you get 50% off your first purchase, and for all Go Forward members, you get 25% off 4 times a year. Go to urbanwesternwear.com, click on the NCBA specials, use your coupon code for your first 50% off, and come back to Urban Western Wear all year long and use your 25% coupons that you'll find in the National Cattlemen's newspaper.
Big discounts on boots, clothing, and Western apparel is just one of the many amazing deals you get as an NCBA member. Don't miss out. Join NCBA today and enjoy these exclusive member discounts. Find out more at beefusa.org.
For many people, raising cattle isn't just a job, it's about continuing a legacy that was started many generations ago. Let's meet a Nebraska family that was determined to carry on, even after tragedy struck.
We're located in the northeast part of Nebraska, about 15 miles from the South Dakota border. There's a little over 2,000 acres. We run 400 cow-calf pairs here, along with up to a 1,500 head start-to-finish feedlot. My mom and dad started breeding cattle back in the early 70s. His dad and grandfather were both raised here also, so it's been here well over 100 years. It's been added on to a lot of times since then, but the core structure is still the same. I think we're very fortunate in our area or in our operation to have most of our cattle within 20-mile radius of us. It's easy to manage, easy to keep track of them. We still have to find them in all the trees. Every year in February, we hold a production sale where we sell our top 80 to 100 yearling bulls and also usually around 100 bred heifers. We also feed cattle for a couple different people as well. It provides a little bit of insurance for us. I enter the weights and the costs of the calves as they come in. Most of the time, a couple times a month, I enter the feed for every day for each lot of calves. And in the next month and a half, we'll add about 1,000 head of weaned calves to the feedlot. So this is kind of the calm before the storm, just the 500 on feed now. I guess we like challenges. I think my dad always knew that I would come back here because he was okay when I decided not to continue nursing. I truly do love this. This is where I want to be. And I wanted to be closer to home. So after a semester, I come back and started pursuing an ag education. He got sick that next fall, and then I quit school at that point to come home and help Mom, and had no doubts that I wanted to be here. During and around the time that my dad was sick, people come and helped willingly, several of them, just because of my dad's concern for everybody. He loved people in general and was always wanting to know more about somebody and had genuine concern for everyone. So there wouldn't have been any way to continue this without all of the volunteer help. Brent and I met a month after my dad passed away moving cattle. His folks volunteered him to help us.
I just took my horse up there and was riding down the road, and here comes this big dually pickup with the 3-axle on, and all of a sudden all these ATVs hop off of there. So I was kind of the slowpoke the whole day. I was on a horse and they were all on their 4-wheelers. But Jemmy hung with me all day long. She was right next to me. She didn't leave me, I guess, let's put it that way. So we just visited and had a good time the whole day, I guess.
Sometimes I feel like I just kind of twisted his arm and he stayed.
Some people say I set it up, but I left my leather gloves in her pickup, so she had to come back to my parents' house to give my gloves back. And I remember I called a buddy of mine and told me I found the perfect one.
A few years after we were married, then we purchased the operation from my mom. I think for the first 5 years, it was definitely just maintain and just try and keep heads above water. We didn't really know which direction that we wanted to go.
You forgot your book bag though.
And now we got 2 kids involved that are getting the age that, you know, we need to spend time with them too, not just work all the time.
Lid.
I feel like for me, ranching and parenting go hand in hand. I can't think of a better way to spend a day than being able to take my kid to work every day with me. It's been that way since birth. I was back raking hay in a tractor a week after Peyton was born. I definitely want them to have an option to pursue whatever they want, but I believe in these childhood years, the work ethic and decision-making skills that they learn here will help them no matter what field they decide to pursue. When we look to the future, it's all about those two kids and the opportunities that we can put in front of them for when they're deciding their career choices.
I think it's a lot of fun working with Angus cows and learning how to AI, and I mean, there's a lot of stuff you can learn. I mean, I just hope one of my kids wants to come back and run the place. That's my biggest hope, I guess.
I sure know how much I enjoy one of my own steaks on the grill, and I sure hope there's people out east and around the world that enjoy that as much as we do, because that is the end game. Our cattle take care of us. So if we don't take care of them and keep their nutrition up to their optimum performance, we won't see it in return on our end.
Proper nutrition can make the difference in the health of a herd and the profitability of an operation. The folks at Purina offer a wide range of products designed to help your cattle achieve greatness at every stage of life. You can see for yourself at the website purinamills.com/cattle. Still ahead, we'll check in with the cowboy poet Baxter Black. Plus, we'll show you how one Nebraska operation is managing lice in its feed yard. Stay with us.
No storm is too powerful for new Purina Wind and Rain Storm Minerals, formulated with ultimate weather resistance. That means more minerals in the feeder and available to your cattle. Wind and Rain Storm Minerals provide more consistent intake and balanced mineral nutrition to optimize herd health and breedback rates. See the difference at your local Purina dealer or visit cattlenutrition.com. Wind and Rain Storm Minerals, another way Purina is building better cattle.
Blaze a trail to Phoenix, Arizona and the 2018 Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show. It's the cattle industry's biggest convention, and there will be education, networking, and fun. Plus, you can't afford to miss the huge NCBA Trade Show.
Well, I think the trade show is a great place to get new ideas.
There's no better place for cattlemen and women to learn and connect with fellow producers from across the country.
The NCBA Trade Show is one of the great reasons to attend the convention. There's so many things to see, from vendors to livestock handling, demonstrations, to all kinds of things, meat cutting demonstrations. It is a wealth of information.
Plus, there will be top-notch entertainment and information that will help the bottom line of your cattle business. So blaze a trail to Phoenix and the 2018 Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show, January 31st through February 2nd. Visit beefusa.org for more. You're watching NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman on RFD TV.
As the cooler weather starts to set in, cattlemen and women should begin planning their treatment programs for external parasites. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Brad Bulla takes us to Nebraska, where we will learn more about the effects lice can have on your cattle as well as your bottom line.
When looking at a single louse, it is very small in size, but the amount of damage and loss it can cause for the beef industry is large.
Lice creates problems because you lose pounds. End of story. Cattle are not comfortable. When they're not comfortable, they're not gaining weight. They're not gaining pounds. And then, of course, the bottom line suffers.
Lice can be economically devastating. Cattle that aren't treated for lice and have them usually gain 9.2% less than cattle that are treated properly for lice.
Treating cattle before the winter months will help you stay ahead and get a handle on what can become a serious problem.
Lice are external parasites, and there's two main types of lice that we battle in our livestock populations. It tends to be more of a winter late winter, early spring issue in our part of the country here.
Here at the feedlot, we really don't have much of a problem until the winter months. Starting in October, November, we have it included in our program to do a pour-on application. And we do that all the way through till the 1st of April. And we do that as a preventative so we don't have the problems of rubbing hair and rubbing fences throughout the winter months.
In a herd population, lice is very contagious. That's why you need to treat all your animals. One lice can produce over 1 million lice in just a few months. So if you don't treat your whole herd or you miss one of them, you can still have a high population of lice.
Treating lice is difficult because they can reach full maturity in as quickly as 3 weeks in colder weather. There are a few factors that play a key role in eliminating lice in your herd.
The timing has to be placed at a period whenever, if we can get the highest effective dose onto them at the right time, then we have a better success of controlling it. Unfortunately, cattle don't always come through the processing facility at the most timely times. In other words, we can't always time our treatments, and it's very expensive for us to bring them in at certain times. So we're employing the insecticide or the pour-ons either at processing or oftentimes at a re-implant. So we look for products that are going to have a very long life and help control it for the longest period possible.
The lice treatments usually fail for many reasons. Improper treatment, such as underdosing, not applying the product correctly, not treating all your animals at one time, or not using your product as it's labeled.
Saving time and money is important in the cattle business. Finding a product that does both those things is a valuable option for cattlemen and women.
What sets Cleanup 2 apart from other treatments is that it doesn't require 2 treatments. Other products require 2 treatments, but Cleanup 2 is a combination that kills the adults and the eggs, so you should not need a second treatment as long as it's applied properly.
Benefits of using Cleanup 2 is we're not having to retreat those animals, and to get cattle off pasture and bring them in just to pour them is a necessity that I think is irrelevant. And it costs time, it costs money, resources. It's hard on cattle. We don't have it. We can't accept that. When those cattle, and we're going to use Cleanup 2 when the cattle got to be in the chute anyways.
Cleanup 2 is a 1-dose treatment, which is very beneficial for cattle producers. It's time consuming and expensive to run cattle back through the chute for a second treatment. So it's very important just to give them 1-dose treatment where the cattle can settle and continue gaining weight.
Dr. Rice says Cleanup 2 is easy to use on any cattle operation.
Cleanup 2 can be used on beef cattle and dairy cattle and calves. Cleanup 2 is a pour-on that needs to be applied topically down the back of the animal in an even distribution. I start with the neck region and spread it down over the back and end up near the hips.
We started using Cleanup 2 as a different mode of action, a different product than what we have used in the past, just to try to change it up. In our program here at the feedlot, we utilize using the Cleanup 2 at re-implant time on the bigger cattle. So the cattle are weighing roughly between 800 to 1,000 pounds. Our experience with the Cleanup 2 has been very effective.
Cleanup 2 has proven efficacy against biting and sucking lice on cattle. Cleanup 2 had a reduction of 99.6% of biting lice by 7 days post-treatment. Cleanup 2 reduced sucking lice by 92% by 7 days post-treatment and eliminated infestations in 29 days. It also inhibited louse egg hatch by 100% 15 days post-treatment.
We found that Cleanup 2 is cost effective, and in this industry we're okay to spend a little more on something that works, and we don't think that we had to spend a little more here. We don't. We think, and there's 100 different options. There is on pour-on. There's a lot of different options and a lot of different ways you can go. We found that Cleanup 2 is cost effective and it does its job, and that's important. We love that.
Cleanup 2 has no pre-slaughter withdrawal, so it's safe to use on all classes of cattle. Cleanup 2 can be used on beef cattle and dairy cattle and calves.
If a producer is interested in finding out more about Cleanup 2, they can contact their local Friendly Bear rep or their animal health supplier.
I'm Brad Buller reporting for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
Lice can cause damage to your herd and your bottom line. Get the information you need to stay ahead of the game by contacting your local Bayer rep or veterinarian. You can also check out the website bearlivestock.com for additional information. Cowboys and country music are a natural combination, and we recently met a man who's making a living at both professions. Russell Nemitz introduces us to a Virginia cattleman who is in tune both with raising cattle and playing music.
So I always wanted to write songs and I wanted to farm. So I moved to Tennessee and have been lucky, with a career there. And then was always planning on moving back. My folks still live in the house right there. And he farmed this until about he was 83. Did it. And then just couldn't really do it anymore. So we moved back here with the idea that I could do what I did from anywhere, right? The businesses are not dissimilar in that you're never gonna get rich. You invest all your money back into your businesses and you're more supporting your lifestyle than you are anything.
It's a rainy morning in the Shenandoah Valley as Scott Miller gets his chores done. His love for the valley and his farm is obvious, and on this morning, even the weather can't dampen Scott's spirits.
It is awesome because I put down my fertilizer last week, so I'm looking like a genius. And plus, we've been dry as we can be. This valley, its soil, its grass, is an ideal place for cattle and has been. It was the breadbasket of the South in the Civil War, but that was mostly wheat, and everything around here was wheat. But as it switched over to cattle, this central location, everybody brought their cattle here. So it's just good grass and good grazing, and you can do it with low impact and a lot of cows per acre.
Although Scott is currently dressed for farm chores, soon he'll shed the coveralls and be on stage performing his music live at the Hamilton in downtown Washington, D.C. His work boots, though, will stay on as he plays.
I used to always joke in Nashville, I was like, I'm the only guy down here that has actual cow flop on his boots, And I don't think anybody believed me. I get up here, I'll feed the bulls, check everything. Right now, of course, we're calving, so there's always that to deal with. There's always something that's got to be done. And I can get out of here probably about 10:30 or whatever, get back to the house, pack up. I can drive up, do that show, and then be back here early Sunday morning to repeat the process.
Before returning to the farm, Scott built a career as a singer and songwriter, recording critically acclaimed albums and playing as many as 200 shows a year across the country and even in Europe. Now he's back home, but still writing and playing music. He's one man with two full-time jobs that can sometimes be tough to keep in tune.
I see that all the time in interviews. They're like, Scott Miller, gentleman farmer. It's like, no. Gentleman farmer, somebody else does their work, right? No, this is me doing this. This past summer, we built a lot of cross fencing, and I built an alley through the woods behind you there so I can move these cattle from the back pasture and move them up here all by myself. The only problem with that is that nobody can see me do it. It's so awesome. But because before I'd have to call neighbors and get 4 or 5 people, and it almost was a 2-day process to get them back through the woods, up here to this, and then to get them in. So I built a number of wings where I can funnel them in, and 2 different sorting pens. So it's just a matter of patience. I think sometimes farming by yourself may be akin to like not having a limb, where you can do everything, but it just takes a lot more effort and twice as long.
And like so many other cattlemen these days, Scott is aiming to grow his cattle business.
Man, I want to expand and get a few more cattle, more income. I've only got 200 acres, so I'm sort of limited. So I'm running a little over 60, and this past summer, now we did the NRCS where we came in and fenced off the woods, and I split some fields where I can graze a little more efficiently. So I'm hoping I can add another 10 or 15. So that's sort of, still trying to find that balance.
During a break from chores, Scott picks up his guitar in front of the bullpen. His music often reflects his love of the farm and the history of his home area.
Dear Sarah, I'm stuck on a train bound for Richmond. We marched down from Kernstown. You write what you know, and of course it's in me. I mean, I wouldn't say that I focus on it, but you can't help but where you grew up to have it affect you. And especially here. I mean, if you look, you could see the surroundings and the people here.
And although the audience on the farm is not at all like the one that'll fill the room he'll perform in later, he appreciates these fans for the value they bring to his herd.
They ran away, didn't they? Well, I think it's the best way to make my herd better and the most money efficient way is by upgrading kind of the quality of bulls. I mean, that's the easiest way. And that's just the most efficient way for me to do is to take my best heifers and keep them and breed up. Calf ease is important to me only because if I've got to be gone, sometimes I can't be here. So I need something that I can turn my back on and know they'll be all right.
There's no doubt life on the farm is a whole lot different than playing music on the road. But finding the harmony between these different worlds is something Scott Miller is committed to doing.
Well, you know, I mean, farming's a challenge and you gotta love it or you don't need to be doing it. And this was always where I wanted to be and always what I wanted to come back and do.
From the scenic Shenandoah Valley of Virginia, I'm Russell Nimitz for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
Now, if you like what you just heard, Scott's latest album, Ladies Auxiliary, is available now on iTunes and Amazon. Go to thescottmiller.com for the details, as well as information on when he might be playing in your area. When we return, it's time for another visit with our good friend Baxter Black. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
What does it mean to be an American cattleman? It means you have what it takes where it counts, on the inside. At Ritchie, we understand that. It's what's on the inside that defines us. We share the same values: ingenuity, commitment, sense of pride. These are the values that built this country. They're the values that built this company. Ritchie, proud to be a partner to the American cattleman since 1921.
Want more profit out of your pasture? Then here's our 2 cents on using parasite control to make some dollars. In a trial of calves, Long Range outperformed Sidectin and Safeguard dewormers combined by as much as an extra 40 pounds. Yeah, that's a lot of extra profit, and that's why it pays to treat cattle with Long Range. Do not treat within 48 days of slaughter. Not for use in female dairy cattle 20 months of age or older, including dry dairy cows or in veal calves. Post-injection site damage can occur. These reactions have disappeared without treatment. You can't afford another season without Long Range.
Did you know that Prefert makes over 1,000 different farm, ranch, and rodeo items? And now, thanks to Prefert Direct, it's easier than ever before to get access to every item Prefert makes delivered direct to your local dealer. For more information about Prefert Direct, visit us at prefert.com. Prefert, America's #1 name in farm, ranch, and rodeo.
When a new calf hits the ground, his clock starts ticking. A belly full of colostrum gives him his best odds, but if he doesn't get any, his time starts running out. That's when you grab a bag of Oxford Ag Colostrum in their patented feeding system. Fill them with warm water, shake it to mix, feed it with a tube or nipple, and you are done. No bucket, no bottle, no mess, and right on time. Get yours at oxfordag.com. Costs less than a dead calf.
It's not uncommon for cattle farmers to keep livestock ponds stocked with fish. Penny and her husband often take their guests out to their pond, but they're more sophisticated fishermen than most. They have outgrown the crude, clunking lures, the simulated plastic worms, the oh-so-amateur refrigerated night crawlers. They are fly fishermen. Their friend John is a fly fishing aficionado and a frequent guest. One afternoon, Penny walked with him across the pasture to the pond. John, the minimalist, went up the bank carrying all his tackle in his shirt pocket. Penny, the princess of preparedness, set her backpack on the 10-foot dirt edge of the half-full pond. She lay out everything she would need neatly along the bank and began casting and laying out the line and reeling and ebbing and flowing, all in perfect rhythm to the lapping of the wavelets on the shore. She realized she was not alone. She looked around to see 40 curious Angus heifers looking over her fly fishing inventory like single mothers at a yard sale. Penny tried shooing them back, but it was like trying to shoo snow off the porch. They had her surrounded. "John, John," she kept calling, trying to get some help. She was actually whacking heifers on the head with her bare hand whilst holding the rod above the milling crowd. One of the heifers stuck her head under the fishing line. It startled her, the heifer, She began backing up, and the line hooked on the round ear tag button on the back side. The crowd parted as Penny played the heifer like an 800-pound walleye. "Keep your tip up," encouraged John. The heifer dived and ducked. She breached and sounded. She wiggled and shook until finally she broke free. "Wow," said John to the panting Penny. "That's sure the big one that got away." "Yep," said Penny, "but we mostly just catch and release." This is Baxter Black from out there.
Thanks, Baxter. We sure appreciate you being part of our show each week. Now, for more than 30 years, producers have trusted NCBA's Red Book to help them keep better records. The 2018 Red Books are on sale now. You can even customize yours with a company name or logo on orders of 100 or more. Just visit the website, ncba.org, or call 1-800-525-3085 to place your order. We'll have more right after this. Stay with us.
Stay Tough fence will last 3 times longer and is 4 times stronger than low tensile fencing. High tensile wire, solid vertical stays, and tight fixed knots all provide superior strength. You will use fewer posts, saving time, labor, and money. Protect your investment for generations with Stay Tough fence. Stay strong, stay tight, stay tough.
There are many great reasons to join NCBA, and that includes exclusive NCBA member-only discounts, such as savings up to $2,500 on new equipment purchases from John Deere.
We at John Deere are proud to be sponsors of the NCBA. We've been long-term sponsors and have been in the livestock business for over 125 years. John Deere has a wide variety of products that support you in the industry. We have a wide variety of discounts that are exclusive to you as NCBA members. You can visit our John Deere dealers locally throughout the United States to be able to find those specific discounts and the products that would apply to your needs. So thank you for being an NCBA member and allowing us to support you.
Saving big money on equipment purchases from John Deere is just one of the great deals you get as an NCBA member. Don't miss out. Join NCBA today at beefusa.org.
Hey everybody, I'm Stormy Warren from SiriusXM's The Highway. Join me for the 2018 Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show in Phoenix, January 31st through February 2nd. You can find out more at beefusa.org.
Welcome back. We're just over 2 months away from the 2018 Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show, one of agriculture's premier events. We asked NCBA President-elect Kevin Kester why it's so important for members of the beef industry to attend convention.
I'm looking forward to Phoenix and the annual Cattle Industry Convention and the NCBA Trade Show coming up in February next of 2018. It's important for producers and members of our industry to come to Phoenix to participate in the process and not only come to the trade show and see what's the newest and best thing that's on the market for all our sectors of the beef and cattle industry, but also to meet your neighbors and friends, meet new friends, and participate in the process of policy and see what's going on within the trade association here at National Cattlemen's Beef Association and be a part of the process. It's a great experience and a lot of fun, and I think it helps going back home, and after you've had that experience, it helps you be a better cattleman and beef person and help our industry. So it's a win-win for everybody to come and join us at Phoenix and be a part of the process and get the chance to see some new things going on in the trade show.
Registration is now open if you'd like to blaze a trail to Phoenix. The 2018 convention runs from January 31st through February 2nd. Don't wait. Sign up today. Go to ncba.org for all the details. It's time once again for legacy photos as we share some great shots submitted by our viewers. Let's have a look. Want to see your photo on Cattleman to Cattleman? You can submit your favorite shots a couple of ways. Either message them to us on the Cattleman to Cattleman Facebook page or email them at c2c@beef.org. Include your ranch or farm name and hometown, and we may use them on a future episode. Well, that's our time for this week's edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you again next week right here on RFD TV.